Hi all. It was nice spending time together this morning, beginning our exploration of mindfulness and mindfulness practices, getting a little bit into discussions of attention and awareness and the ways that these can inform our lives meaningfully, personally and professionally. I enjoyed the conversation. I enjoyed your insights. I enjoyed the questions. I appreciate the scratching of the head, wondering this or that. And I thought I would just take a little bit of time to zero in on two things. One that I didn't have an opportunity to really discuss in class that's important for next week. And the other relates to the practice journal, just for to be a little bit more clear on certain things as you begin the process of practicing and tracking your observations. So first of all, as it relates to mindful spaces, there's a brochure I'll be handing out next week. It's the Mindful Space brochure. Mindful spaces are opportunities to do a lightly guided mindfulness practice, much like we did in class today, for 12 minutes. And they're offered Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday most weeks. They're going to be starting up, and I'll talk more fully about it next Friday. But next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, Mindful Spaces will be in gear. I'll be leading them. It'll be in the library, where it always is, room D338. That is the contemplative space. It's on the far corner of the third floor. I won't always be guiding them. We have a team that have been trained to guide a short practice. And so here's what a mindful space is. It's relevant because it can be very useful, and it's relevant because it's part of the invitation to practice this semester. Mindful spaces are 12-minute, technically 1:30 to 1:45, and they start at 1:30 and they finish at 1:45, so you can reliably depend on that for purposes of getting to your class or whatever it is that follows, the lunch hour. On Mondays, it's likely to be a short stretch, a mindful stretch. On Tuesdays, it's likely to be a sitting practice like we did today, like focused attention. On Wednesdays, it's a mindful movement training known as the SOBI mindful movement. And on Thursdays, it's a mindfulness and relaxation practice. These are opportunities for you in the middle of your day to flexibly or become more flexible at shifting out of the busyness of being on the hamster wheel or just working away, happily getting things done, to take a pause, to take a break, and to do a mindfulness practice. It's offered to you because when you are practicing law or, say, studying for the bar, that can be a really useful thing to do during the middle of the day, but it can be very challenging to do so when we're just sort of feeling either an urgency or we're sort of on a roll, even though we're slowly depleting ourselves, and a little bit of a break, and in particular a break where we're cultivating greater present moment awareness as opposed to, just spinning our wheels doing something else, can be very, very useful. So it's really practice for when you graduate, but it also creates an opportunity for you to have a live guided experience with others, in addition, instead of always having it be where you're listening to an app. So, as I mentioned in class, one of your 5 practices is Friday when we're together. One of your 5 practices is intended to be a mindful space that you do on campus, and then 3 of them you do on your own, or as we discuss in class, 5 if you want. It's really up to you. So if you look at the field guide, you'll see how over the course of this semester of, I think, 13 weeks, you are to do 8 mindful spaces. So you can do more. Many will do 13 or more than that, but you don't have to do 13, and you don't have to do more than that. I'm hopeful that you don't see it as something you have to do, but rather something that is available to you. And it's okay if at first it feels a little bit, like effortful to have to break away from something to go to this mindful space. But the curriculum calls for you to do it 8 times this semester, once a week, over 8 weeks, not bunched together like at the end of the semester, 4 and 4, but rather once a week, weeks that you choose, over 8 weeks, on whichever day or days that you would like. So those are the mindful spaces. And the reason why I'm saying this in this video is to let you know that it's part of what you'll be doing over the course of the semester. Avail yourself of it as much as you want. Bring a friend, bring a colleague, or do what we could call the bare minimum, which is good enough. And it starts next week, and I'll be there on Tuesday for those of you who drop in at that time. Again, if you're interested in doing so, put it on your calendar. If you leave it to the memory, it maybe catch as catch can. All right. The other thing I'd like to touch on is review a little bit of the practice journal. So you've got your practice journal. For the two of you that missed class, you are able to, and even if you were there in class, but you can't find your field guide, you can download this page from this week's assignment, where you'll see that you can download the practice journal. Also, you can download the present moment pivot flyer in the event that you don't yet have that. But as a reminder, each time you practice, you'll fill it in like we discussed, and then you'll make note of your observations, which this week respond to the prompt, what was it like? And to do so with just a sentence or two. I suggest that you do that first, and then you do this second, or you start to fill this in, then do the practice, so that the end of the practice isn't interrupted with, before you get to your observations, with you filling in some administrative stuff. The other thing is this isn't like this week and then this one's next week and stuff like that. It's cumulative. So if you do 7 this week, you'll go from 1 to 7. If you do 5 this week, you'll do 1 through 5. If you don't do them all and you do 3 or 4 this week, that's okay. It'll be cumulative. And when you get to the bottom, next week, this week, 2 weeks from now, whatever that is, you'll continue on. So it's meant to be a cumulative record. That's important. I had mentioned in class, if you don't do one, you can just put didn't do it. I was thinking back to a couple years ago where I had weekly practice journals, and that was the intention. Like, no, it's okay, just but you didn't do it. But here we want to keep it cumulative, and also that means when you turn the page in a week or so, you continue the numbers. So whatever number you're down to here, it carries forward. That way, as the semester progresses, you're like, wow, I've done 37, I've done 40, I've done 42. That we see that incremental movement of growing, practice time. Alrighty, I think that is it. Yeah. All right. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Wishing you all the best.